continuation, of course, of the brand new Lord of the Rings film, The War of the Rohirrim animated feature. We are going to be looking back through my Lord of the Rings trading cards way back from the early 2000s for the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films. They're pretty cool, that's all I gotta say, and I've had them forever. I love them, it's one of my favorite games. I wish I had people to play it with me. And, without any further ado, let's jump right in, look at some cool cards. Alright, here we are. Look, it's my hands. I've set up my 4 decks. I went back and of course I made, because for context, as you may have seen from my videos, I'm kind of a young person. So when these movies actually came out, I was like literally 5 years old, and I kind of just picked whoever looked cool. And what kind of seemed like fun. So my decks actually weren't very good. Now I went back as an adult, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 decks that actually, have some logic to them. And I just wanted to show some decks, as well as these boxes here. These trading card boxes with a lot of other cards in it. And, well, this game has kind of a storied history, which we may get into today. But we'll just start off with some of my decks. For context, this once again is the Lord of the Rings trading card game. From the early 2000s, we'll start here with our Éowyn Rohirrim deck. Now, as you'll see here, this is Éowyn, Durnhelm, and this is Merry, Noble Warrior, and then Frodo, Master of the Precious, with the One Ring. Each game begins, and you have to have Frodo with a copy of the ring. And there's many different kinds of Frodos, many different kinds of rings. And later in the game, as more and more card packs came out, there were other ring bearers, like you could play as Bilbo, or you could play as even Aragorn or Gimli or Gandalf were able to have the ring with certain special rare cards. And then you have a starting team that equals up to 4 cost points. So Éowyn is 2 points, Merry is 2 points. So these guys plus Frodo are my starting team for this deck. Now Éowyn is Rohirrim, as you can see by her card symbol. She is a companion of the race of men. She is valiant. That's one of her little abilities. And then she has additional abilities that while skirmishing a mounted minion, she is strength +2. While skirmishing a fierce minion, she is also strength +2. And then sometimes they'll have little quotes from the book at the very bottom of the card. Like right here, she says, "Do you not? Then call me Durnhelm." A little more context, of course. That little sword and shield, that's your strength. The little red dot, that's your hit points. And then don't worry about the little signet on the bottom. That just sort of means like there's Aragorn signets, Gandalf signets, Theoden signets. Having a bunch of signets of the same kind of just is a general rule that those cards are good together. No one really pays attention to it. Just, play what you want, man. But I've got Éowyn, and I've got Merry, and his noble warrior self. This is more so a Merry, but like from Return of the King, where he's like the Rohirrim squire. So this guy, this Merry particularly, is a little bit stronger than like regular Hobbit Merry. Like regular Hobbit Merry will have a strength of 3, but he has a strength of 5 because, well, he's stronger. But that's also why he costs 2 points instead of 1 point. So for instance, if you wanted to have all the classic Hobbits from like, say, Fellowship, Sam is 2 points, Merry and Pippin are each 1 point, so you could have all of your guys just be the Hobbits. Anyway, to play Merry, spot a Rohirrim companion, that would be Éowyn, and then skirmish. Draw 4 cards from hand to make Merry strength +2 for each Rohirrim companion you spot. So he'd be, at this point, at least strength +2. And you may be hearing skirmishes and price, mounted minions and fierce minions and price. What are you talking about? And I'm talking about is as we look through these decks, you'll see, wait a second, there's villains in these decks. There's bad guys. These are Dunlending mobsters, you know. What the heck? There's a goblin guy for some reason. You know, why are there bad guys in this deck too? I thought we were the good guys. Well, that's what's so cool about this game. You play the good guys and the bad guys at the same time because you play with like a few of your friends or your family members or whatnot. So each of you on your turn plays your heroes. So I would be playing Eowyn, you know, say my mom would be playing Gimli, my dad would be playing Gandalf, you know, Fred playing Aragorn. And then on my turn, I would use my characters right. And anytime that I would play like a weapon that costs 1 point, I play an event or something that costs 1 point, I play any bonuses for my guys, or if I ever played, let's try to find some new companions. If I wanted to play, of course I can't find one, here we go. If I wanted to play a new companion like this Rohirrim guard, he would cost 2 points. Well, anytime I add points to the point pool, or we'll get to these later, depending on what location you're in, adds more points to the point pool in the corner, and depending on how many companions you have with Frodo, because each companion counts as another point in the point pool, those are points that the other players have to play their bad guy cards on you. So say I have 10 points in the point pool, that means that these 3 guys have 10 points of goblins, orcs, urukai, and whatever they want to play against me to try to kill my characters. The way you win is by getting Frodo alive to the end of the game through all the 9 regions, which we'll get to later. And the way that, you know, basically you lose, that you get eliminated from the field, is someone has to kill Frodo, or Frodo has a little ability here where you can obviously, you know, put on the ring and become invisible, well, to avoid damage. The thing about that is, every time you put on the ring, you get gradually more corrupted, and he has a resistance of 10. That means he can get these things called burdens, basically. Every time he puts on the ring, he gets a burden, and if he gets 10 burdens, well, guess what? Frodo gets corrupted, he turns evil, and then you lose. And there's even bad guy cards, like especially the Nazgul, have cards that add burdens that play upon how many burdens you have. You know, there's multiple strategies realistically to take down your opponents. So, real quick, just summary. On your turn, you're the good guys, and you're trying to get to Mount Doom to throw a ring into the fire. When it's not your turn, you play as the bad guys in your hand, because of course your hand's going to be made up of good guy cards and bad guy cards, and you're trying to kill the Frodo of the other people you're playing with. It's pretty cool stuff. So we'll just cycle through the cards we have here. Ideally you're already asleep because I'm just so relaxing or so boring, but honestly I might just go for 2 hours and just talk about all these cards I have. Alright, let's start. We have the Hobbit Sword. Now, fun thing about cards like this is, so each deck, you have to have an equal number of good guy cards and bad guy cards. They have to balance out. And then you can only have 4 cards, each of a specific named card. So like, I can only have 4 They Sang as They Slew. I can only have 4 Work for the Sword. I can only have 4 Hobbit Swords. And the thing is, Hobbit Sword is one of those common cards that's released like every set. There's a Hobbit Sword from Return of the King, a Hobbit Sword from the Two Towers, a Hobbit Sword from the Fellowship of the Ring. And I can't just have, you know, basically 30 Hobbit Swords in my deck just waiting to be grabbed. You only have a limited amount. God, there's a lot of setup for this, isn't there? So going into explanation of these sets, each movie had 3 sets. Fellowship of the Ring had Fellowship of the Ring, Mines of Moria, and like Realms of the Elf Lords. So like 3 different sets you could buy from with cards from that movie. The Two Towers had the Two Towers, Battle for Helm's Deep, and the Ents of Fangorn. And then Return of the King had Return of the King. I think it was Battle of Osgiliath and Mount Doom. So So then that's 9 sets. And then there was a 10th set called Reflections that had special cards that, they had to make, like, as you can see, these are all like just pictures from the movies with that reflection set. They had to go out and take new pictures of brand new stuff that was never in the movies. For instance, there's a Tom Bombadil card. There's a Goldberry card. There's, stuff that was never touched upon. So those are like especially rare cards and especially hard to get. I actually have a few of those reflection cards in these decks. And like the core, the 3 movie decks, they had like a bajillion cards. And then the 2 little expansion packs for each movie had like, maybe a third as many cards as the original. And then that Reflections one had like, I kid you not, like 20 cards total. And then after that, they restarted and had a bunch of new rules and mechanics and whatnot, but we'll get to that in like an hour. Oh no, my Gimli. We'll get to that later. We should get looking through some cards because I've already been talking for 10 minutes and I haven't even cycled through anything. So, let's go. Okay, so we already know our core team. We already know our Hobbit swords. They sang as they slew, exert X mountain companions to wound X minions. That's pretty good. These are like events, and it's kind of like when you're fighting somebody, you can use these while you're fighting, or in this case when you're regrouping after everyone has already fought. And you can use these as like little power-ups basically. This one's more of an obvious power-up. Make a Rohirrim man, strength +2 and damage +2 if mounted. So basically, like, say you're Eowyn and you're fighting, someone with a 7 strength. Well, they would be beating Eowyn's 6 strength. So this would make it so that she's stronger. And you may be asking, well, what's damage +2? Normally, everyone does 1 damage, but damage +2 would make it +1, +2 for a total of 3 damage. So she'd be doing a lot more work against some of these bad guys in here. You'll kind of begin to notice that every race of people sort of has a little, not maybe gimmick isn't the best word, but like little racial attributes. Like for instance, the dwarves have a lot of damage +1, +2 cards. The Rohirrim are really based around having mounts, having horses. Gandalf's based around having a lot of crazy technical cards. The elves are based around having a lot of archers and whatnot. And this is an elvish card. You can tell by its blue tint and a little symbol in the corner. And this is actually from that Reflections special set. And this is Merry's dagger. Bearer must be Barry. Gives him +2 strength. And you can exert Merry twice or discard this possession to wound a minion he is skirmishing. Any shadow player may remove 1 of the points of the little, tokens in the pool to prevent this. Now there's a difference from exerting and wounding. You exert someone, you put a damage token on their character, but if you have like say 4 health and you have 3 damage on you, you can't exert. You can't exert someone and have it result in their death, but you can for wounding. So wounding is a little stronger. Then you have Merry's sword here. Merry's sword, +2 strength. Exert Merry twice to exert a minion once for each Rohirrim companion you spot. That can be real powerful. Then you got Merry's armor here. Well, you can spot 3 Rohirrim men. Merry cannot be overwhelmed unless his strength is tripled. So what overwhelming means, I'll try to find something here. This guy right here, this villain, he has a strength of 11. If he was fighting Merry, who had a strength of 5, well, overwhelmed is when someone outnumbers your strength by double. For instance, if anyone with a strength of 10 was fighting Merry, Merry automatically dies. So that armor would make it so you'd have to be a 15 to overwhelm Merry. Now we get to the Dunling guys. Dunlinged Madman. Pretty mad to me. The band of wild men. Pretty wild to me. Then an iron axe. I'm abilities that if you win a skirmish like this guy, it makes it so that other guys are stronger or that he's stronger. A lot of these are like, each time he wins a skirmish, he gets to be fierce too. So the Dunling guys kind of catch on in terms of sort of snowballing and getting stronger. Fierce means you have to fight him a second time after, assigning characters. So like say, this guy fought Eowyn and this guy won the combat. Well, now he's fierce, so he gets to fight Eowyn again. Plus, he would be plus strength too, so even stronger. So not very pleasant. A little more context for the rules. When you move to different locations, you can move up to about 3 locations. So it really kind of depends on how many people you're playing with. And if you say move to a new location and you fight everybody there, if you want to keep moving to the next location, all the people you're fighting and all the money in the pool, that stays. So you can potentially fight even more and have even more bad guys coming at you. So it's kind of like a risk-reward thing. And you have to keep moving so that you can beat the other people to throw in the ring in Mount Doom. But if you keep going without taking like a break, without giving somebody else a turn, well, then you can't play any additional good guy cards or draw any more cards or get any more strength for yourself. You kind of just have to go as far as you can and hold out. And that's kind of the incentive too. It's a little balancing game of do I stay and heal up, because if the longer you stay, the more you're able to get more cards and heal. But then other people tend to get further than you in the journey to Mount Doom. Alright, now this is a condition bound by rage. Placed at your support area. When you play this condition, you may spot 2 Dunling men and place 2 Dunling tokens here. If a Dunling man is about to take a wound, discard this condition or remove a token from here to prevent that wound. There you go. War Cry of Dunland. If a Dunling man wins a skirmish, make him fierce and strength plus 4 into the regroup phase. That's pretty tricky. Dunling Renegade. Another axe. A Dunling Brigand. A Dunling Rampager. Now, you'll notice this guy has a cost of 1. My dad's strategy, and he actually beat the highest ranked guy in our region for a tournament doing this, is instead of having all Dunling guys or all goblins or orcs or whatnot, having a consistent deck, he'll take whichever his favorite characters from the movie are. He always had Rohirrim characters, and all of his villain cards would just be people with a cost of 1 or 2. So when it became his turn to be the villain, he would just place 5 1-strength people, so that he would just overwhelm you. Because once you have, say you had these 3 guys as your heroes and you have 1 person assigned to each guy, well, the initial assignments the heroes get to make. So I can choose if he goes there or there or there. But if I had 3 bad guys out against these guys and a 4th bad guy came into play, well, the villains get to choose where the 4th bad guy goes, and the 5th bad guy, and the 6th and the 7th. So, of course, they put them all on Frodo, and they kill Frodo, and then you're out of the game. So he would just totally overwhelm you, and he called it his cheap deck. It's pretty fun, and also very annoying. Now you'll notice, and Bryce, what the hell does this say? Well, this is a rare card. A rare card that you would find in the booster packs. But this is in Elvish. Now, you would get these Elvish cards by buying these boxes, these anthology boxes. These would come out once a movie, and you would buy this, and it would have packs from each set of that movie, and decks built from each set of that movie, like starter decks. And then it would have a bunch of these Elvish cards from the rare cards of that entire set. So you'd have a rare Gimli, like this Gimli. You'd have a rare Legolas, rare Gandalf, and then rare condition cards like this in Elvish. And of course, it would come with a guide that would give a translation for it and whatnot. Yes, good stuff, good times. You have Symbol Main, one of the great cards that heals, and I actually have it in English too, because M. Price is a legend. Oh, here we go. Sam, Great Elf Warrior. I should probably say what Symbol Main does, by the way, because it's really good. Spot 2 Rohirrim men, or 1 Valiant Man, like Eowyn, to play a Rohirrim character or possession from your draw deck. So if you're like searching for something specific, you can instantly grab it with this card. But here we have Sam. Sam is strength +1 for each Hobbit companion you can spot, so he gets stronger. And guess what? If Frodo dies, Sam becomes the ring bearer. Frodo's resistance is 10 and Sam's is only 5, so he's, realistically half as strong. But look how much strength he'll have for more people that he spots. Sam is OP, and you always want to have a Sam in your deck. Now we got the Dunlington Ravager. Okay, another Dunlington Ravager. When skirmishing a Rohirrim man, this minion is strength +2. Spot an ally to make that ally participate in skirmishes and assign this minion to skirmish that ally. Dunlington Robber. Dunlington Arsonist. A Goblin Sneak. Why is this random goblin card in here? Is it because M. Price ran out of Dunlington cards and had to add some other stuff that, like my dad, only cost 1 point and was super cheap? Maybe. Rohirrim Spear. And playing into if the bearer is mounted, he's damage +1. Woohoo. Oh geez, we got Eowyn's Shield. Having this makes the minion archery total -1. Archery is this really annoying tactic where, if you have these archers, then their wounds get assigned before combat even starts. So it's like a way to have additional damage, and it can be really tedious and obnoxious. And you may also notice, though, this card is holographic. Hot dog. Extra rare. Isn't that fun? Alright, now we got Fury of the Northmen. Exert a minion skirmishing a mounted man. More don't want to be mounted. Goblin Bowman. Hell yeah, goblins. See, Archer. He sucks. He pretty much dies instantly because he has 4 strength and 1 health. But once he gets played, game over, man. Game over. Also, you'll see, how Eowyn will have the signet of, someone in her corner. The bad guys have these little numbers, and theirs kind of looks like a compass. What that means, that correlates to the regions. The 9 regions that this game takes place over, the 9 territories. And the number down here is like their home territory. Why that's important is if you're in a region before that, so in this case regions 1 through 3, he actually costs 2 extra points to play. So he would cost 4 points instead of 2 points. But once you get to region 4, now he's 2. So basically, these guys get cheaper as you go on. And like the Nazgul, who have, generally they're higher cost individually, they have a 3 region, so they get out pretty quick. And like the Uruk-hai, their region's like 6, so it kind of takes a while. And then you have Shelob, who I think is the only one that's an 8 region. It just takes forever to, get that little discount for. More Dunlington cards. More repeats. Like I said, you can have 4 of each in your deck. Death to the straw heads. Make a Dunlington man strength +1 for each companion you spot. That Rohirrim card from earlier. Dark Fury. Make a Dunlington man strength +2 or +4 if at a sanctuary. Sanctuaries, we'll get into that later. Some mounts. One of the reflections cards, Horn of the Mark. They must be Merry or Pippin, and they gain the Theoden signet. If Bear wins a skirmish, exert him to discard each minion involved in that skirmish. That's really good. Another really good card, the Rohirrim Helm. Discard this possession to to cancel a skirmish involving bearer. A meeting in this skirmish may exert to prevent this. So, if they have a lot of health, then you might be screwed. But if they say only have 1 health, they can't exert, so you can just cancel that entire skirmish. Hell yeah. Anger. Spot 3 Dunladen minions or sight you control to make a Dunladen man fierce until the recruit phase. Don't even ask me about controlling sights. I never understood it as a kid, and to be honest, I don't understand it now. Now we're pretty much at all duplicates. Oh, here we go. Aemir. He's also valiant. He has a strength of 8, so he costs a little more. He costs 3. When you play Aemir, except in the Fellowship, starting Fellowship, you may reveal the top 10 cards of your draw deck. You may play each Rohirrim possession revealed. Shuffle your draw deck. And then we got Aragrum. Theoden sword. Makes him damage +1 and stronger. And then of course Theoden, tall and proud, also valiant. He is cheaper if you can spot a Rohirrim man. And when he's killed, you may play a Rohirrim companion from your discard pile or draw deck. Try to, replace him as soon as you can. A random veteran horseman. Just some random companions, just to help out here and there. Oh yeah, Eowyn sword. When you can spot a villager, Eowyn is damage +1. Borrego. Kind of a special horse. Thundering host. The last condition and very rare. Discard this condition to make him mount the Rohirrim man strength +3 and heal that man if at a plains. What's a plains? Well, that brings us to the sights. Each deck needs to have 9 sight cards. Sight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And basically, you take sights as you go through the game. If player 1 is going and then wants to move to sight 2, you look at the little pointer, and whoever is to the left or the right of you plays their next sight. So they'll play their sight 2, or their sight 3, or 4, and it keeps going on and on. So there is a bit of an incentive to, you don't necessarily want to lead the charge, because if you do, then you don't get to play your sights, and your sights probably help you out. For instance, a lot of these sights are planes, because planes help me out. Or this one pertains to Dunladen guys, so that helps me out. So does this one. And every time you go on, except for the first sight, the money, or the little counter in the upper right, that determines how many more little tokens are added to the money pool for you to spend to attack your enemies. Then you'll notice sights 3 and 6 are silver. They're a little bit different. They're that way because if you rest, if you stop moving forward in one of these silver locations, you get to heal your guys. So it's kind of like it's like a checkpoint basically. You want to get there to help out and stay safe. But we have for us Horse Country, Rohirrim Village, Westmont Plains, Westmont Hills, the Hornburg Courtyard, Battleground, pretty dangerous, and also 8 tokens, that's a lot. The Hornburg Armory, the King's Room, the Ring of Isengard, and the Fortress of Orthanc. The shadow number of the Fortress of Orthanc is +2 for each companion over 4, so that can be pretty dangerous the more people you have. But that is my Rohirrim deck, if I can even get the rest of the cards in my hand. Very, very fun. And we're gonna keep working our way down, aren't we? We sure are. We have Gimli. This is my dwarf deck, my dwarf and goblin deck. And don't ask me what this says because I don't know. Back when I played, I probably had more remembrance of what each little thing was. I'd have to look it up now, but I think he's damage +1, and if you discard a possession on him, he's even more damage, but I forget. Linar, Dwarven Lord. He's one of the Reflections dwarves. The collection sets had a lot of people who were just like in the mythos, like the ancient, the first dwarves who got the rings, the three elves who got the rings, you know, all the Nazgul who were like, the Nazgul is rings, a lot of rings in that set too. And he's pretty strong because each time a dwarf wins a fierce skirmish, you may heal that dwarf and then discard a dwarven card from hand to make a dwarf damage +1. It's vaguely cheap when you get higher into the game, like into the later sets, because like for instance, he's 2 cost and he has 7 strength, you know, and he has his crazy good ability. There are some people who are 2 cost, like in the earlier sets, who have a 5 strength and nothing. Like, there is a bit of a weird scaling to the game. Here we have Frodo, Elvish Frodo, and an Elvish ring. In addition to like the regular, oh yeah, each 1 ring just gives you +1 strength. Each movie had a special ring that had special stats and like a different ability. And they were the rarest card respectively in each one. The 2 towers had a blue ring, like a ring that fell into the water, the blue card. And I actually got it in English. And I was so hyped and so pleased. But remember, I was like a 5-year-old when this stuff came out. And I traded it away to somebody. And oh my god, I still think about it today. I want my blue ring card back. God damn it. I was robbed. I was cheated. Technically not, because I got like 3 cards, like in exchange for it, like 3 rare cards, which by the way I got like naturally later. So it really pissed me off. But it's like, oh my god, like, I want my card back, god damn it. Anyway, sorry for my unhinged musings over a children's game. Anyway, well, regular game while I was a child. Who cares? Gollum. This deck has mostly goblin cards, but some Gollum stuff as well, because Gollum is actually strong as hell. He's kind of tricky in that, of course, the only Gollum enemy is Gollum himself, and mostly kind of little cards like this that screw with the heroes. But oh my god, is he useful? So if a minion is about to take a wound, spot Gollum to prevent that wound. You know, just stuff like that to help out. Goblin marksman, archer, more damage and whatnot. The whip of many throngs. The Balrog's whip. Must be the Balrog. Exert the Balrog to discard a helm, shield, or armor borne by the character. The Balrog is skirmishing. The Balrog, as you may assume, is also strong as fuck. And we will get to him later. Hidden from her. Gollum is fierce. Spot 6 companions to play Gollum from your discard pile and exert a companion. Place this condition on top of your draw deck. A lot of Gollum stuff is like this too, where it allows you to get Gollum over and over and over again and just keep continuing to mess with the heroes. He's awesome. God, I really can't talk about this game forever, can I? We must have it. Oh, by the way, not only are there Gollum cards, there's also like Smeagol cards. They're the exact same, you know, icon, but it's just like a kind of light gray or a darker gray. They're pretty fun too. Place Gollum from your draw deck or discard pile, and during a skirmish, discard a card at random from a hand to make Gollum strength +3. So it's just more of that, like, Gollum just coming out whenever you don't want him to be there. Little Goblin Archer. Cheap guy, lets you get an archer point out there to do some damage. Threats of the unknown. Exert your Goblin Orc to draw 2 cards. You'll see he's a minion, but he's also an orc-like type. So for instance, the Balrog isn't an orc, or the Troll isn't an orc. So, though they have a lot of health, you couldn't, you know, exert them, because they don't count. Restless Axe, a rare card. Exert a dwarf to shuffle a dwarven condition and all cards stacked on it into your draw deck. Exert a minion for each card shuffled into your draw deck. Dwarves do a lot of stuff like this too. Shuffling and stacking and just kind of, you know, some mental shit you gotta keep track of. Oh my god, this guy was so obnoxious. The Goblin Runner, he costs 1 point, but but when you play him, you may add 2 points. So he just stacks and stacks and stacks, and oh, he's frustrating. Here's some more really overpowered stuff. This is one of the rings available in that reflections thing I was talking about. It is free. Bearer is damage +1, strength +1, and for each dwarf you spot, reveal a card from the top of your draw deck. Take all free people's cards revealed into hand and discard the rest. Then discard this card. So I'll let you kind of dive and delve and get some good stuff. The Dwarven Guard. Just 1 point, really cheap, and 4 strength. So not very strong. But kinda, you'll find that having weak people like this is really good. It's almost like sacrificial lambs later in the game. Like you're fighting a really strong enemy. Just place them on one of these guys, let them die, save your better characters like Gimli, and just don't worry about them. Flurry of Blows. Make a dwarf strength +2 or +4 and damage +1 if bearing 2 hand weapons. More goblins. Uh-oh, what's this? Mithril. Mithril, as you can assume, is pretty strong. I forget how strong because obviously I'm not an elf, but it's a good card. And out of these 4 decks, this one's probably my strongest. So you could put Mithril in any deck ever and just always give it to Frodo. But I have it in this deck just because it's probably my strongest out of this one, out of these 4. This one's honestly probably my favorite just because Gandalf is so goofy in the stuff he gets to do. But this is strong both with the heroes and the villains. When I was a kid though, I was always Éowyn because Éowyn's like my favorite character. Éowyn and Faramir are just the best. But I never really had the good Faramir and the good Gondor cards, but I got some Gondor stuff in here we'll check out. Gimli's Axe, which is also super strong. And Elvish. Spot a dwarf who is damage +X to make him strength +X. That can scale up rather nicely. More goblins. Goblin Scimitar. Some weapons for goblins. When you play this guy, you may add 3 tokens if the fellowship has moved more than once this turn. You know, so that can really get bad if you play him. Some dwarven axes. Each time a player's minion loses a skirmish to a bear, that player discards a top card from his or her draw deck. That's pretty bad. Some more golem stuff. Touch me. You have to touch me. I never really understood this card as a kid, to be honest. This is more of that stacking stuff. But it is a rare card, and come on, look at that face on old Gimli. So fun. More goblins. Some just goblin conditions to make them stronger. Oh yeah, Durin's Tower. Pretty cool looking card. And a cool part in the book. Place your support area at sites 2 and 3. The Balrog's Twilight cost is -3. Okay, so let's you play the Balrog early. That's nice. This card has condition to make a unique minion. Strength +3. So that's a very good card. You want to get out early if you can. We'll go to the next one. Some more Golem stuff. Play Golem from your draw deck or discard pile to add a threat. That's like double trouble. You get threats and Golem. And look, it's free. Uri, one of the other dwarves in the beginning. He's strength +X. Exert him to make him. Oh, if he's damage +X, exert him to make him strength +X. Pretty good. Axe of Erebor. Bearer must be Gimli. His damage +1. Discard a dwarven condition or card stacked on a dwarven condition to make Gimli strength +1. Very good. Oh yeah, we got Gollum. We have Elvish Gollum and we do have an English one later, so I'll just wait till we get there. Same with the Balrog, actually. I got multiple. Some more axes. Another ring. Another reflections ring. Damage +1, strength +1. Take a dwarven event to hand from your discard pile to discard this thing. Cave Troll's Chain. It like eliminates the archery thing. That's pretty good. Like it a lot. Dwarven armor makes it so that they can't be overwhelmed unless their strength is tripled. Very useful. More dwarven guards. Gimli's helm. Can't take more than 1 wound, so kind of negates the damage +1 stuff. Here's one golem, a common, you know, there's common, uncommon, rare. a common one. Discard Golem to exert a companion or ally. Just lets him do some more damage. Some random cards. Uh-oh. Shelob. Shelob is pretty expensive and comes in later in the game, but he's enduring and fierce. So while in a fierce skirmish, Shelob is damage +1, so that makes her stronger and whatnot. Because fierce, remember, makes it so you have to fight a second time. But what does enduring do? Guess what? Enduring means that you are +2 strength for every damage that you have. So for instance, if you put 4 damage on her, she would be +8 strength for a total of 16 strength. She's badass. There's a couple of Shelobs. This is a promo Shelob. I don't really think I have the good one, the rare ones, but I like her a lot. She's kind of fun to throw in. There actually is. My family thought it was like a rulebook error for the longest time, because I got this card that it's like a Mordor card, and it says enduring, and then below it has the enduring ability, and we're like, did they just make this guy double enduring by accident? And yes they did, but it wasn't an accident. This dude is just double enduring and gets +4 strength for every damage on him. Just incredible. I have my Elvish right next to my English Cave Troll. The Cave Troll of Moria, Scourge of the Black Pit. He is a 10 cost, 15 strength, 4 health, damage +1 and fears. To play, you must spot an orc. At an underground site, the Cave Troll is -3 cost. Very good. Then you have his hammer, which makes him stronger. If Gollum wins a skirmish, wound a companion except the ring bearer. You're a liar and a thief. Very strong. Some more Hobbit swords. You remember maybe that deck had Hobbit swords from the 3rd movie. These are the Hobbit swords from the 1st movie, so it's the same card, exactly same abilities, but it's just a different picture. More dwarven conditions. Here is a good rock. Sindri, Dwarven Lord. You may play a Dwarven skirmish event stacked on Dwarven conditions as if from hand. That's a good one. Beneath the Mountains. Discard the top 3 cards from your draw deck to play a Dwarven weapon from your discard pile. Lets you play the same weapons over and over again if you need to. Am I gonna run out of cards before I find the ones I need? This is at sites 1 through 4. Cancel a skirmish involving a hobbit. Any other site, prevent the hobbit from being overwhelmed unless his strength is tripled. So that's a good card, because it's like, hey, you want to assign the Balrog to Frodo right now? Guess what? It's getting canceled. Hobbits have a lot of fun cards like that, because obviously they're weaker than everybody else. They have a lot of little tricks up their sleeves. Ring of Retribution. If a bear wins a skirmish, discard this artifact to exert each orc. Some more cards. Axe Strike. Make a dwarf strength +2 or +3 if carrying a dwarven weapon. Come on, here we go. Here we go. I meant Gollum Stinker. The rare Gollum. The really good Gollum. Gollum is strength +1 for each burden. Each time Gollum wins a skirmish, you may add a burden. So not only are all these Gollum cards like intentionally adding burdens, every time you add burdens, this guy gets stronger. And if he wins a fight, you just add more burdens and make him stronger and make Frodo closer to being overwhelmed. It's amazing. Gollum's the best. More Goblinos. Come on, where's the Balrog? Oh, here we go. You don't want to mess around with this guy. So, the Balrog, Flame of Udun, 14 cost, 17 strength, 5 health, and a 4 region. He is a minion, and he is the Balrog. He is damage +1. He is fierce, you gotta fight him twice. To play, spot an orc, and discard the Balrog if not underground, so that does kind of suck. You can only basically play him on like 2 or 3 sites, so you either have to have him in your hand and kind of wait on him, or hold them for like a specific thing, which I'll show you in the back here. But then again, it's kind of an incentive to make sure that you can play your sites, because if you never get to play an underground site, you can't play the Balrog. Shadow, exert the Balrog and remove 2 to play an orc from your discard pile. So he's just, you don't want to have a lot of points on the field and play this guy, you know, if you're the good guys at least. Then the Balrog sword just makes him more badass and more unkillable. Yeah, he's fun. I love him. I got a lot of Balrog cards, I won't lie. Okay, so we got our sites for the Fellowship. Got the West Farthing, Trollshop Forest, Council Courtyard. The sanctuaries for each, well, I guess all of them for each movie set kind of are similar. So the sanctuary in 3 for the Fellowship is always Rivendell, and 6 is always something to Lothlorien, and like, you know, the second film is always like Helm's Deep is a sanctuary, you know, at some point. Anyway, kind of fun to see all the little differences. And then regions 4 and 5 are always the undergrounds, at least for the Fellowship. And technically, you're supposed to always play the Return of the King sites, just because that's like tournament standards. But like, honestly, play whatever sites you want. You even mix and match if you want, but I do try to keep it consistent from movie to movie. And what was important, at least for the Fellowship, is the Site 5. There's generally different ones for each number, but Site 5 was always the Bridge of Khazad-dûm, and there was no alternative. And the ability here is play the Balrog from your draw deck or hand, and the Balrog's Twilight cost is -6. So basically, it's like if you're playing the first set of sites, you're guaranteed to have to fight the Balrog. Like, and that is so much fun to me. Like a guaranteed, yeah, you pretty much have to have at least like 1 sacrificial lamb. And remember, this guy's fierce, so it might even be 2. Then you have the Dimrill Dale, the Anduin Wildernand, Shores of Nen Ithoel, and Immenmuel. Good stuff. Get that all organized. Okay, now we're going to my Gandalf deck, which is arguably my favorite deck. I don't know, I go back and forth. Gandalf is very strong, so he is a 4 strength. Or a 4 cost, and he has a 10 strength, a 4 health. Usually, he's like Aragorn and has an 8 strength. But there's something different about this Gandalf, because he is damage +1. This guy is so strong. Oh my god, 10 strength, damage +1. There has to be a catch. Guess what? There is. Each time the Fellowship moves, wound Gandalf. Let me say that again. Each time the Fellowship moves, you have to wound Gandalf. So he gets hurt more and more every time you move. So you have to constantly heal him or make stops at the sanctuaries to replenish him. Unless there's a special card in the Gandalf deck that would help him out greatly. Let's see if there are. Spend Gandalf to make a command defender +1. That means you can fight more guys, basically. Instead of having them get sent off to Frodo to be overwhelmed. Gandalf's sword, Glamdring, makes some damage +1, more strength. Wizard staff, exert bear twice to make a minion -3. This is a fun little card. Stay this madness. Each time the Fellowship moves, add a threat or discard this condition. Discard this condition to wound 2 minions. So it's kind of like you can wound 2 minions at some point with kind of the risk of getting threats. Threats are basically, they're not damage right now, but if someone ever dies, all your threats that you have gathered get released and you have to assign them, so it's kind of like a surprise damage. Save from the fire. Spot Gandalf and place a companion except the ring bearer in the dead pile to take 3 cards from that companion's culture into hand from your draw deck. Oh my god, what? Isn't that nuts? You get to kill somebody and then go through your draw deck and take out specific cards from them. I wonder what significance that could be. Wait, there are more Gandalfs in this deck? Are you telling me I can keep bringing Gandalf back to life? What? Fun things about Gandalf's decks. It used to be just Gandalf was like your hero, but once the Ents got brought in, the Ents got put under him, so that's kind of fun. Oh yeah. we go, one of the reflections cards, sent back. During this, discard this condition. To discard each minion skirmishing a wizard, place that wizard in your dead pile, or fellowship or regroup. Play a wizard, even if another copy of that wizard is in your dead pile. This lets you keep playing Gandalf over and over again. Isn't that awesome? Because usually, you can play a duplicate of your card, another Gandalf or whatnot, to heal your current Gandalf. Or, in this case, you can just keep bringing him back to life. It's awesome. It's just like the movie or the book. He dies and he just comes back stronger. So even if this Gandalf dies, which you probably will, he comes back and you have multiple other Gandalfs in this deck. This is my Uruk-hai deck. So I have Uruk Bloodlust, spotty action, Uruk regular, or Thank Warrior. The Uruk-hai's main deals are they're generally damage +1, so they hit a little harder, but you have to wait till Sight 5 to start playing them out. Uruk Rear Guard, Uruk Crossbowman, more Hobbit Swords. Now these are the second movie Hobbit Swords, so the Athelian Ranger appears to have taken them from us. Another Gandalf, hell yeah. Elvish card, I think this does something like make him really strong, just give him extra power. Narya, the Ring of Fire, the Elvish Rings. The bearer must be Círdan or Gandalf. Remove X culture tokens, where X is equal to the bearer's vitality. Discard this artifact. I forget what I would even use that for, but it gives him extra health and it's free, so why not? My favorite Pokemon would say, why not? Ent Avenger, when you can spot 3 Ents, this companion is strength +2. That can be pretty good. But Hjorn is actually probably the best Ent. One of the reflection cards, of course. Damage +1, this companion is strength +1 for each Ent you spot. So it just sort of gets bigger and bigger and better. If this companion is about to take a wound, exert an Ent to prevent that wound. Hell yeah, that's good stuff. For those who don't remember, the horns in the books are like the deranged, crazy Ents who are just, even like Treebeard doesn't mess around with the horns. Good stuff. Some Ent cards. Threw down my enemy. Gandalf is so cool. Make a minion skirmishing Gandalf strike -1 for each wound on each character in that skirmish. Sick. Under the Living Earth. Make Gandalf strength +1 for each Twilight token you spot. The Twilight tokens are like the little tokens in the middle that people use for money. Long Eye Fell. Spot Gandalf to prevent all wounds to him. Any shadow player may make you wound a minion to prevent this. And some more Uruk-hai. More Ents. Sam, you gotta have a Sam. Come on. Gandalf's Staff. While you can spot 4 Twilight tokens, Gandalf is strength +1. Gives him more health. More Ents. The Ent drop, the magic Ent drop that our Hobbit buddies love so much. To play spot an Ent, bearer must be a companion, limit 1 per bearer. Exert bearer to make him or her damage +1. So, got a temporary strength boost. Another copy of Sent back because I'm a goofball. Moments of respite. At the start of your regroup phase, you may discard 2 cards from hand to heal Gandalf. More Gandalf, preserving action, plus another Gandalf. God is cool. Elvish, Shadowfax. More Ents, more Uruk-hai. Some Uruk stuff. Ooh, Tower of Orthanc. To play, spot a minion, place in your support area. Each time the fellowship moves, you may spot an exhausted companion to add 3 more tokens. Exhausted means they have 1 health left. So if he had 3 damage on him, he would be exhausted. Ooh, Berserkers. They're fun. Saruman. He was my favorite character as a kid. I just love Christopher Lee as well. He's so cool. I forget what Elvish Saruman does, but he doesn't actually engage with play. He kind of sits in the back and does mischief, but he does have his staff that lets him actually fight, and he's pretty strong. Let's see if we can find that. Here we go. It's going to be a while, isn't it? Here we go. Saruman's staff. Wizards is fierce and damage +1. Make the first sentence of Saruman's game text not apply until the regroup phase. The first sentence of his text is that he doesn't fight and skirmishes. He just sits in the back. So this lets him fight. Hell yeah. More cards, more cards. So many cards. Oh my god, here it is. Here's that ring. That stupid blue ring that should be in the front. Or, oh, god. I had this in English, god damn it. I had it in English. Put it up there. Still pisses me off. This rare card, Sacking of the Shire, which isn't in the films. It's only kind of like a snippet of like a possible reality in Galadriel's mirror. But it's very much in the book, and honestly probably one of the best chapters in the books. If a Isengard minion wins a skirmish, until the regroup phase, make that minion strength +1 for each site you control, and fierce, which actually doesn't really do anything for me because I can never capture sites, but, you know, don't worry about it. Then we have our locations, Rocks of Immamuel, Daring Dingo, Meduseld, White Rocks, Helm's Gate, Hornburg Armory, Hornburg Wall, Valley of Saruman, and the Palantir Chamber. Palantir currently trading at like $70 a stock. For those so inclined. Alright, then we have the last of my main decks, and then we'll look at some regular cards. Unless we run out of time, because I mean, I want to make a long video, right? But I want to go for 7 hours. And I've already gone for like an hour, so we'll see. Aragorn, King in Exile. He's a ranger. At the start of your turns, you may heal another companion who has the Aragorn signet. That's kind of like where these cards come into play. Spectral Sword. Must be a wraith. Discard 3 tokens. Cards from hand to heal bearer. So like, a lot of the Gondor cards, these Gondor ones, are like, you know, Gondorian soldiers, or Aragorn and Boromir, or rangers and whatnot. Well, my favorites as a kid was the Army of the Dead. Oh my god, I have an attack. So there's a lot of Army of the Dead cards in here that I used a lot. All these I use now. Spot a ranger at a river or forest. That's with locations. To exhaust up to 2 minions. Pretty good. Here we go. The Sleepless Dead Companion Wraith. To play at a threat, and it's also enduring. Each time this companion wins a skirmish, you may exert him to discard a minion he is skirmishing. Now, that's the thing with the Wraiths. They're pretty strong and pretty expensive, but every time you play them, you have to add threats. So you're gonna get this pile of threats in the corner of your deck, the corner of your game, and it's like, oh my god, if one of my guys dies, I'm pretty much screwed. But there are cards to mitigate that, and we will find them together. This is a pretty good one. Exert a ranger companion to wound every minion. Rare card. Then we have the Oathbreaker. They are a little weaker, only 6 strength. Also have to add a threat. Discard 3 cards from hand to discard a possession borne by a minion skirmishing this companion. Exert Aragorn to make an unbound companion with the Aragorn signet, strength +1 for each threat you spot. These guys are all Aragorn signets, and they're not bound because unbound people are basically everyone. Bound people are those who are ring bound, who want the ring, like Frodo, Sam, and a lot of the rangers, and like Boromir. So that helps us get stronger. You'll see that the villains in this deck are the Nazgul. Specifically, a lot of the Nazgul orcs from the 3rd film. Morgul, Lurker. Then we have Ulere and Goya, one of the regular Nazgul, who's fierce. Spot 6 companions or 5 burdens to exert Ule and Goya and wound a companion except the ring bearer. Pretty strong. Morgul Predator. A fell beast. That lets you, be fierce again. You can't be double fierce, but being regular fierce sure is nice. These were freaking rings I traded my blue rare ring for, and I got them again. I have multiple copies of these, but these were from the reflection sets as well. When you play this artifact, you may wound an unwounded companion. If a player reconciles, return bearer to his owner's hand. So you can kind of keep using it over and over again. This is neat to play at a threat. Each time your wraith wins a skirmish, you may remove a threat. This is how you can kind of get rid of that nastiness lurking on your game board. Oh, the Witch King, Deathless Lord. He is fierce. Each time a companion is killed in a skirmish involving a Nazgul, wound an ally twice or exert a companion. Dead. No, you cannot kill him. Or them. More ghoul orcs. What are they? Spot a ranger to discard a roaming minion. Roaming is a minion who is played before their region zone. So if this guy, his region is a 4, and he was played during region 2, he would be considered roaming. Aragorn's sword makes him stronger, damage +1. A better Witch King, a rare Witch King, the Black Captain. He is enduring, and each man skirmishing the Witch King loses all strength bonuses from weapons. Do not stop the attack until the city is taken, he says. Fun. Uller Kentea, Lieutenant of Dol Guldur. Fierce and exert Uller Kentea to discard a weapon borne by a character he is skirmishing. Also very strong. And another Witch King, but this is an Elvish one. The other ring, remove a burden to heal each Nazgul. If a player reconciles, return bearer to his owner's hand. I think I remember right. The reflections had regular rare cards, but they also had ultra rare cards. The ultra rares were like Tom Bombadil and whatnot, and Sauron is a card too. Conditions. More Morgul guys. This was the card that saves you, and it's only a common. Each time the Fellowship moves, add a threat or discard this condition. But while you have initiative, exhausted wraiths cannot take wounds. What was initiative? I forget what it was. I think it's something to do with the tokens, or if you didn't spend or whatever enough tokens. But you always want to have initiative with this card because it prevents you from taking wounds, your wraiths. So realistically, you could have a bajillion threats and not worry about it, because if your wraiths can't die, then you'll never have to worry about your threats, and you can keep assigning bad guys to your wraiths who, mind you, have enduring, so they get stronger each time they take a hit, and they'll just be okay. And the caveat of that is, well, Aragorn can still, die, or the wraiths can be overwhelmed. So if any of them does get overwhelmed, or if Aragorn dies, you are basically instantly screwed, because you'll have like 10 threats that instantly go out. Elvish, King of the Dead, I have an English one in here somewhere. A rare, Uller Kentea, enduring and fierce, that's a good one. Swordsman of the Northern Kingdom, Foul Clutches, some fun names. Elisar's Edict. If a wraith is about to be killed, discard him and exhaust another wraith instead. Sort of prevents that cascading threat damage. Here's we are English, King of the Dead, Oathbreaker. 7 strength, enduring, to play spot a wraith and add 2 threats. If Aragorn is about to take a wound in a skirmish, exert King of the Dead to prevent that wound. So that's why you want him around, to help save Aragorn. Don't want to look at those rings. This guy's actually pretty decent. He's kind of like a little meme, a little joke in the movie. But discard this minion to play a Nazgul minion from your discard pile. Spot 6 companions and discard this minion to play up to 2 minions from each of your draw deck. From your draw deck, their Twilight cost is -1. That's pretty good. Exert Aragorn strength plus 2 or 3 if they have the Aragorn signet. More bonuses. I think that's mostly it for this deck. Another Elvish card. Shadow Host. Defender plus 1 if they get exhausted, so that's really good to have. They can fight more guys. I think that's about it. Then we have the Steps of Edoras. The King's Tent. Hall of the King. Pelennor Plain. Pelennor Flat. Mithril minus Tirith 6 circle. Each circle has a different ability that they're all healing things, but it's like each one correlates to a different race. So this one is for men, one is for dwarves, one is for elves. Each circle is something different. Osgiliath Channel, Crossroads, and then the Slag Mounds. And that is our 4 decks. We will now get into our boxes of the unused cards. Whoa. Alright, so I actually forgot that I have 4 more decks. I have each of these boxes. One is like all good guys, one is all bad guys of cards that I never used. But there's also 2 decks in each of them. They're just kind of like, they don't have deck boxes for them because I don't have that many, but they're just sort of divided out in here. And they're decks that they're fine. They're more decks if I have more people to play with. But they're just not as good. I only have so many rare cards, you know. But I guess we'll check them out. Why not? Just because there's so many cards to go through, I won't belabor everything. Here's a Gandalf and Ranger deck. This Gandalf's just good because this Twilight costs is -2 if you start with him, so you get them for cheap. And then some Rangers. Got Boromir, Elvish Boromir, Horn of Boromir, the Palantir, trading at about $70 a share. More Palantir stuff. Honestly, do you guys just like some shuffling sounds? We'll do that. Scroll of a sealed door, pretty neat. For holographic too. Elvish Aragorn. Garrison of Gondor, pretty strong. Denethor, you. This is a pretty bigger deck, and a lot of Gondor stuff I just, I had good cards for, but, wanted to put somewhere. Oh look, Elvish Wormtongue. He's a bad guy. Elvish Lurtz, also a bad dude. A bad mamma jamma. Some of these, like, just a second here, gotta adjust my hearing. I'm like, when was this ever in the movie, Makes me wonder if there were just, like, some behind-the-scenes stuff. Oh, Elvish, Ukluk. And yes, I know all the random orcs' names. Come after me. And we got the Riddermark, Uruk Camp, Golden Hall, Arid, Nemrise, Hornburg Courtyard, Hornburg Armory, Hornburg Causeway, Kurunir, Saruman's Laboratory. Yes. Very nice deck. heroes. Every unbound hobbit has strength +1 for each vitality over 3 they have. Prevent an unbound hobbit from being overwhelmed unless their strength is triple. Discard this condition. Always a good one to have. That's one of the reflections ones. I always thought this card was super cool looking. And this is like my first ever rare card. I always remember this card very specifically. Add 1 burden to wound each minion skirmishing the ring bearer. There and back again. The greatest book ever written by the greatest hobbit ever to ever live. I am getting very hungry. I purchased a calzone from Aldi and a tabbouleh salad, and I'm excited to eat them. And yeah, it is important to know. We haven't seen this race yet. These are the specifics. I don't know, because they're not all Rohirrim or all Easterlings or all Corsairs, but they're like the evil men. So these are like, you got the Mumakil chieftain, a Mumakil in general, desert scout, troop of Haradrim, marksman, Southron bowman, Southron archer. These guys are all about ambushing. I forget what it does. I think it just adds more money the more you play. I really do forget. I was just never too keen on these guys, so these are kind of like my, not to say throwaway deck, but the deck I'm not too interested in. We got the Westfarthing, Trollshaw, Fort of Bruin, Norway's Stairway, Bridge at Khazad-dûm, because the Mumakil can obviously fit on that bridge. Valley of the Silverlode, Anduin Confluence, Anduin Banks, Tol Brandir. Very nice. Get these guys sorted out again as best I can. Alright, and then we have some good guy cards. And what's this? What's this? Just to spite me? Is it another copy? Oh god, oh no, I divided them. I didn't divide them, I mean, they fell in together. What am I going to do? Don't worry about this technical difficulty we're having. It's all fine. Here we go. This is my divider for all the other Elvish cards I have. Fun little Gandalf, another Gandalf. Treebeard, though Treebeard actually doesn't do that much. He's an ally, so allies never fight unless they're on their home location. I think he has some decent abilities, but allies are just kind of hard to use, and like they were really big in the Fellowship. They were kind of there in Two Towers, and they're like non-existent by Return of the King. It's kind of a mechanic that, the developers kind of stopped using. So also one of my first rare cards. I got the English version though, so I do have a Legolas deck in my other box we'll get to. Easterling, badass, Smeagol, smeeking about, and then all the copies of the regular ring that I have, the non-fancy one. So we will get him. So here is the Gandalf section. We will just peel through all of these as quick as we can, because now we're on fast mode now. Just a second realize it's really inconvenient to play spot Gandalf. Baron must be Theoden. Discard all shadow conditions on Theoden and it cannot be played on him. But then you have to have Gandalf, you have to have Theoden, and just like as an adult when I reworked my decks, I just couldn't find a way to, have them both together. But that's just on me. Go to the Hobbit section, got a bunch of Hobbit cards. Look at my 70 Frodo copies that I have. You get a bunch of, when you buy a starter deck, each set has different starter decks. You always get a Frodo and a One Ring, so you just always have a bunch. Bunch of Sams, Marys, Pippins. The Gaffer, hell yeah, Sam Slather. Rosie got him. Bajillion out swords. Shout out to Shagrat getting totally shag-ratted right there. Oh, Elbereth Githoniel. Bear must be the ring bearer. Discard this condition to take off the One Ring or to cancel a skirmish of the ring bearer in a Nazgul. It's a rare card. I should probably add it to one of my decks. The Lord of the Rings by Frodo Baggins. Those are our Hobbit decks. Alright, we got Aragorn. King of Exile, Defender of the Free Peoples. Yeah, you get a lot of like the main characters over and over again. Here's some Faramir, but they were never like the good Faramir cards, just the common ones that didn't do much, alas. A lot of random, this was a guy who was in the movie for half a second. Madrill actually is like a real dude. Shout out Dol Amroth. All the real ones know. Generally, I organize it so that the less useful stuff is in the back. Or the stuff I have duplicates of. And I'm sure the second I say that, some eagle-eyed viewer will be like, what do you mean I saw XYZ card? That's the best card in the game. What do you mean that's useless? Oh well. Here we go. With our Rohan cards, you got Eowyn. Eowyn, of course. Here are some allies, Rohirrim allies, villagers. They didn't really do that much, but I'm sure someone out there smarter than me had a plan for them. exert dominion for each theod and signet you spot. Oh geez, the red arrow. A rare card from the reflection said, exert a Gondorian man to play a Rohirrim man. You may exert the Rohirrim man to play a possession on him or her. Discard this artifact. I always wonder about the audiences of my videos because I'm not an ASMR channel. I have a lot of different things on here besides ASMR, like short films and like book reviews, as well as like, you know, essays that YouTube gleefully took down. And I wonder, like, does someone who's just like a fan of the reviews come in and then watch some crazy, like, why is this guy just shuffling all these cards around, you know? Like, how do you explain that? Also, if you ever feel like you're useless, remember, Galadriel had a husband. Just, you know, a confidence booster for you guys. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, like, I guess sometimes I wonder about who's watching these videos and what to think about this stuff, and hopefully they like it. Strands of Elven Hair, a rare reflections card. To play Spot a Dwarf. When you play this possession, add 2 tokens here. Discard this possession or remove a token from here to reveal the top card of your draw deck. If it is a dwarf or elf card, you may take it into hand. Narya, the Ring of Fire. Vilya, the Ring of Air. And Nenya, the Ring of Adamant. 3 Elven Rings. 3 for the Elven Lords under the sky, and 7 for their Dwarven Lords in their halls of stone. 9 for the mortal men doomed to die, and 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, and the land of Mordor where shadows lie. Look at me. I'm a nerd. I've never been a big elf fan, to be honest. The last alliance of elves and men. Bearer must be a Gondorian man. Limit 1 per bearer. Bearer strength +1 for each elf you can spot. Very nice. Alright, at least the dwarves, I see. They sure are. Some Gimlis. There was a girl I used to like at a job I used to work many, many years ago. We were talking about Lord of the Rings, and she mentions, oh yeah, I really like that dwarf guy. What's his name? Grimly. Yeah, Grimly's probably my favorite. And I about uppercutted her right there. How dare you call him Grimly? It's Gimli. Pretty obvious. Come on. Anyway, aside from my violence and rage, here are some more dwarven cards. You probably recognize most of them. Like I said, you can only have 4 of a kind in each deck. So you can't just have, you know, 70 axe strikes and just keep bashing people that way. Some of these almost look like a promotional, like, hey, John Rhys Davis, just stand there and, like, we'll take a picture of you. And I kind of wonder, like, how many other just, like, random shots do they have, you know, of whatever else. Yeah, I don't want to bet my cards. Even the ones I don't use. Oh, geez, we have the Gollum section, or I guess the Smeagol section. Oh, no, there's Gollum stuff in here. Yeah, Smeagol's gotta he's free, but he is, you know, and he does count as like a character against your Twilight pool, as well as if you play him, you have to add a burden. So I don't know necessarily if his perks outweigh his negatives. Maybe if I had better of like the Smeagol cards, I really had good Gollum cards, but not so much Smeagol cards. Some Shelob action. Yeah, not a lot. Oh boy, here it comes. Look at all of this nonsense. All of these different sites. Yeah, it just never ends. Sites for days. Yeah, that's a lot. I will flick the site cards because I don't care about them as much, and because I'm a monster. Yeah, why not? Look at them all. Kind of organized. Pat them down for safety. And we'll cover. That bad boy up. And then we'll lift up this guy. And we'll slide that into view without me knocking the camera down. Uh-oh. Bad guy alert. Plus the 2 decks I talked about earlier, but mostly bad guy alert. Alright, so the first deck here. There's another Rohirrim deck. I had a lot of Rohirrim cards, as well as I love Eowyn, obviously. And this was my other Eowyn deck. This one is Sister Daughter of Theoden. She is still valiant, but if Eowyn is exhausted and about to take a wound in a skirmish, I can discard 2 cards from hand to prevent that wound. And then Eomer, because, you know, he's the best too. Oh, there's multiple Frodos in whatever. Whatever Frodo, I don't care. Is it missing from this deck, maybe? No, there's a Frodo on that one. Whatever. As someone who plays this game, you find Frodos everywhere, okay? Just many Frodos. I don't think these ones are, oh, they are kind of shuffled. Yeah, this is the Warg Rider deck. Yeah, Warg Riders are my favorite, and when I was a kid, I would play, you know, with all the Warg Riders and whatnot. And as I, you know, upon my reflection of looking at all these again, the Warg Riders aren't really the best, you know. Very much you can tell that it was Child Price who decided to play these guys. In all actuality, they're kind of weak. They're good if you can get their wargs on them, but then it's dependent on, well, if you can get your warg. But, you know, whatever, I still enjoyed it. Little Kid Price still had a great time. I just thought, you know, wolves and monsters and like werewolf-looking things. So I love werewolves even now as a kid. I just thought they looked so cool, and I just wanted them. Oh, it's a Foul Horde. While the Foul Horde is not exhausted, it is fierce. Has at least 3 vitality, is ambush +1, and has at least 4 vitality, it is damage +1. Wow. Nothing really too spectacular in here. I don't think I've even found one rare card besides that Warg Horde one. You know, you only have, oh, this is a rare card. Thundering Host. Discard this condition to make a mounted Rohirrim man strength +3 and heal without a flames. Yeah, but you only have so many rares. You kind of just want to, you know, put them with the decks you like. Archer. Exert Legolas to wound a minion. Legolas does not add to the Fellowship Archery total. You may think, why the hell would you do that? When you have the archery phase, it's like the person who's being shot gets to assign where they go. So his ability is basically him getting to pick where that goes. So like he could finish somebody off, essentially, or pick off someone who you specifically want to die. Elvish Arwen. Don't remember what she says, but I think she's good against Nazgul. The first Fellowship set had like very specific, like, oh, this card's always good against Nazgul or Uruk-hai, but then it's like, well, if you're not battling someone who has those, then it's kind of pointless. So, yeah, I think they got better with card abilities that they got later through the game. Fun fact, my brother always played as the elves and had all these elvish cards, and they just would be so powerful and have so much archery and so much little, wink around abilities. And as I was looking more into this as an adult, I saw like on tournament rules they have a list of banned cards that are deemed too powerful, and like a good majority of the cards he used are on the banned list. And it gave me just like a little bit of like a pick me up, because I was like, hell yeah, I knew he was cheating all along. There's no way that I could have bested him. I'm glad that someone else in the world sympathized with me and got rid of those overpowered cards. Anyway, verily I come. It's a Mordor condition. Each time the Free People's player draws a card or takes a card into hand during the Fellowship phase, add a burden. That's pretty rough. Oh, and break the charge. You get some rare elvish cards. Exert 3 elf companions to make the Fellowship archery total +2. And then draw a card for each elf companion you spot for Alliance Reforged. It's also very good. Yeah, holographic Nath Warband. Hot diggity. Someone want to pay me 100 Bitcoin for this? I'll gladly accept. A lot of the Mordor stuff from like the first Fellowship set is stuff that like I swear was never in the movie. But that's just me. That's just me, man. Haldir, the literal, like, he's on it for a page bodyguard in the books, but is for some reason a major character in the movies. Why not? Why not, I say. Double shot. Spot an elf archer to make the Fellowship archery total +1. Hell yeah. Here he is. It's double enduring guy. The orc slaughterer. He is enduring, and then for each wound on this minion, it is strength +2, thus giving him the double enduring ability. I would love to use this on the people stomping up the stairs right now and double endure them to their graves, but alas, no one plays this game with me. The Troll of Cure the Gorgor, damage +1, fierce, general badassery. This is the troll that was fighting Aragorn at the end of the Return of the King, which was supposed to be Sauron apparently, but they were like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have Sauron's incorporeal form try to fight Aragorn. Kind of cheesy. Anyway, Legolas's bow, which I for some reason have organically. Haldir again. Double enduring guy again. I love this guy. I don't know why I had multiple of him, but why not? This is another. If bears and archer exert bear to make the archery total +1. The splendors of their banners. Nice condition there. Elven Robe from the rare Reflection set. Discard this possession to make a shadow player return a minion with strength 6 or less to its owner's hand. I don't know who the significance of this guy is, except he looks pretty strong. The Tale of Gil-galad. Gil-galad was one of my brother's favorites. Verily I come again. Gate Troll. I for some reason remember getting this from the Inns of Fangorn set. One of the very first things I bought for myself that I also remember. I don't know why, but it just always stuck out to me that I got this Gate Troll. It is fierce, while I can spot a troll. Gate Troll's Twilight cost is -4. For each other minion you can spot, this minion's strength is +1. Thanks, Gate Troll. It really pisses me off. Modern film making, when it's like nighttime they'll just have it like be pitch dark and you can't see worth shit. But like films like this, just make it blue. Just tint everything blue so you know it's by moonlight. So you can actually, oh, I don't know, see what's on the screen. Not like dumbass Game of Thrones. It's just like, yeah, we're just gonna have a fight in pitch dark. That'll be compelling. This is a rare card, I guess. Mirkwood Bowman. Exert 2 companions and discard the top 3 cards of your draw deck. Make the Fellowship Archery total +1 for each elf card discarded. Very nice. Grishnock. Knocking all up over these places. Shagrat. Oh my god. Did I make a Shagrat joke earlier? I was Gorbag then. Is it Shagrat and Gorbag and Grishnock and Ugluk? God, I'm a failure. I should end the video right now because I'm just a loser. Damn it, Bryce. How could you do this? How could you disappoint the good people of YouTube so much by getting your Lord of the Rings lore messed up? Our double Frodo in here for some reason. Once again, you just find Frodo cards everywhere. Alright, we got some Nazgul cards. Hell yeah. Look through these guys. Some promotional, I can see here, promotional Witch King. Because I did like participate in those tournaments at like the local comic book shop. It's just that none of them, well, for me, kind of worth jack squat. Just because, once again, I was like 5 or 6 years old when this shit came out. I wasn't going to be beating anybody anytime soon. Matter of fact, I don't think I ever won against anyone at these, this little weekly meetup. Anyway, if a Twilight Nazgul is about to take a wound, remove 1 to prevent that wound, which is pretty neat. But I don't think I actually have any Twilight Nazgul. Do I? No. Maybe I had one in a deck earlier, I think. I think I did. Regardless, yeah, sometimes you just get cards that don't really work for you. But that's, that's to be expected, all part of the game. You'll notice there's a bunch of villain cards just because, they're more common. Obviously you can have Aragorn and Boromir, but like there's like 10 different versions of like an orc warrior, to fill out your decks. But we have a Saruman, Master of Foulfolk. Saruman may not take wounds from the archery phase, and he may not be assigned to a skirmish. Each time the Fellowship moves, you may heal each orc twice. Exert Saruman to play possession from your discard pile. So he's kind of like a utility, I guess. But if you have the Staff of Saruman, you can make him actually do stuff. I don't know, I always remember being kind of let down by Saruman as a kid, because I thought that like, him being like one of my favorite characters, I'd be like, I'm not even framing it, and I'd be like super cool and super powerful if I got to play as him. I was wrong. You see, just a shit ton of Uruk-hai. So, what brings you here? I feel like that's supposed to be Sharku, but it's not. Also, shout out to Sharku, the made-up character in movies that they just stole Saruman's nickname for. Old Sharky. Wizard Storm. Shout out. Shout out. Weather cards. Once again, there were a few mechanics in the earlier other sets that never really come up again, like weather. Oh god, my hands are big enough. Oh, like siege engines and machines. Yeah, I never messed with any of that. Okay, now a real. Keep in mind, I have like 3 decks of like Isengard enemies, and there's still that many cards. Well, what's this? This is Sauron himself, the Lord of the Rings. Damage +2, enduring, fierce. For each bird you spot, threat you spot inside you control, Sauron's Twilight causes -1. Released in 2004. Wow, 20 years ago. Man, do I feel old. Yeah, that's Sauron though. He's kind of unfuckable. God, there's too much here. And it's like, what do you even do with all these at a point? Like, do you just throw them away? I feel bad for throwing them away. What if someone wants them or wants to play with them or wants to go through them and they're just in the trash? Like, it's like throwing away, like, even if you don't like Monopoly, I feel like I can never throw away a copy of Monopoly. Like, it's still a game, isn't it? So what do you do with all these cards, And like, especially the fact that there's probably cards all over the world of other games that, maybe weren't even as popular or as widespread. And I just, I don't know. That movie Toy Story, if you've ever seen it, I cannot stand. Because the idea of like toys being sentient and, being really melancholic over the idea that someday no one will play with them and then having that future arrive where they're like cast aside and not used makes me like profoundly upset. And anytime I have anything where I'm like, I'm not gonna, I don't want it, I don't play with it, I don't, whatever the reason, I always feel bad because I'm like, oh my god, what if that toy is a living thing and it hates its life and it's locked in this misery and all the other poor toys all over the world. And then I say to myself, M. Price, you're a sociopath. No, those toys do not have feelings. Just throw your 30 copies of Orc Tracker in the garbage because they're not needed. But as you can see by these boxes of cards, they are needed. Here's all the Dunlington copies I didn't use. Once again reaffirming that I don't need any of this stuff. Thought that was holographic for half a second. Yeah, just crap. And then out of all these, there's 3 cards that aren't actual units, and the rest of these are units. But if you had the average 30 good guys, 30 bad guys in a deck, you can only realistically take 5 or 6 different types of people or characters, and then the rest should be good guys or items or events or conditions and stuff. That's just crazy to think there's this much variety in who specifically is I need the Southron Traveler as opposed to the Desert Warrior in my group, to be efficient. It is kind of crazy, the degree of customization over this stuff, man. Yeah, Corsairs. They're in here too, little pirate guys. I do not have the Peter Jackson card, alas. specific thing. Anyway, yes, I have 70 more Balrogs. These are the uncommon Balrogs, not as good. And some more Gobelinos, but once again, you just get to a point where you have a bajillion copies and you like legally can't use anymore. The Watcher is actually pretty cool. The Watcher in the water. There's different types of tentacle cards, and you can actually feasibly have like an enemy deck where it's just the Watcher in the water and all the different like appendages. It's kind of fun. Yeah, Dark Fire. That's neat. Last card we're looking at from this set. The plays about the Balrog plays on Gandalf. Every time the potion moves, Gandalf must exert. Weird. But did you hear me say something specific? Everything from this set. And if you may remember. Alright, not gonna be perfect. If you may remember, earlier I did say something about after the initial wave, there was like more stuff that had different rules, wasn't as popular. Well, let's take a little trip into what that is, shall we? Yes, the box I don't use very much. So, after the first 10 sets, the 3 for each movie and the special reflections, they introduced a new set called Shadows, Set 11, and restarted everything. So, entirely new rules, entirely new sets of cards, new factions, to the point where, like, it made older cards obsolete, and as new cards were phased in, old cards were phased out, and it pissed off a lot of people, and basically the hobby kind of collapsed, as well as, of course, because the movies at this point had been done, so there wasn't as much hype for the movies, and then apparently there was a lot of like internal turmoil and whatnot, which there was like some guys stealing money from the company and people like sabotaging stuff from within, so it kind of just all fell apart. But here I have, looks like some starter decks as well as some regular ass cards and everything else. I did mention earlier that these came with starter decks like, throughout the entire series they did, and it would be, a 63 card, whatever, starter deck, being 30 good guys, 30 bad guys, and then 3 random rares. Sometimes I would use these as like deck boxes for other decks, so we'll see if this is actually legitimate, or, yep, it's a real one, I think. So you'll notice right away, they don't have the signets anymore, now they have this other thing, which is a sort of resistance counter, and it doesn't mean that once Frodo gets 7 burdens, Eowyn goes crazy and leaves, but it's some kind of, or maybe it did mean that. God, I don't know, it was really vague. The new rules suck, okay, and you can't really use any of these cards with the new stuff because they also have different abilities, and they contradictions to other things, as well as they had the exact same card, exact same whatever, but then you had to get a bunch of new copies for it, and it was just obnoxious. And then you'll see, okay, so the Uruk-hai aren't the Isengard White Hand, now they're the Uruk-hai. Well, that's because Saruman is now his own faction, just Saruman. They split up a lot of the factions and changed a lot of, like, it's hard to explain. It's just frustrating, okay, man? It's frustrating. And it makes me sad. Because the game was actually not really, because, 1, because I'm an adult, and 2, because I don't play this game anyway, so it's not like, having all this stuff would make much of a difference. It's just like, it's interesting to see the stark differences from the original style and the new style. One thing about the new style too is it doesn't have numbered sites. Each site is blank. You can play it whenever you want, and as a result, the shadow, like little twilight tokens you get, are only ever 0 through 3. So it's not like the old style where you'd get to like the 9th of the site and it'd be like 10 points here, or 9, something just crazy that would really screw you over. You could potentially go to the 9th site and then have a 0 ranking. And one want to be like story consistent. Like, okay, I go to Rivendell, then I go to the Mines of Moria, then I go to, Emmanuel. It'd be like, yeah, we start off in the Fortress of Orthanc, and then we teleport to Slag Mounds, or now we're at the Flats of Rohan. Just bizarre. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. But yeah, I have a Gandalf starter deck, an Eowyn starter deck for Shadows. Shadows was one where they had 4 starter decks. That was the only one they had 4, just because they wanted to get people into it. And then the next one was called Black Rider, and the next one was called Bloodlines. Bloodlines added a bunch of crazy rules, and I guess that's where it really fell off. And there was like 4 or 5 more sets after that, but we never bought any of them after that. We only got like these of Bloodlines too. And then like, I don't know, like it just got bizarre. Hopefully there's some I can demonstrate too the weirdness of these ones with this deck. Because you would still have like, oh yeah, these are pictures from the movie, these are stills from the movie. But then you'd have one, there's no more, there's no more Mordor thing. There's just orcs. So Goblin orcs and Mordor orcs and Isengard orcs are now all under the same banner. And they'd be like these things that weren't from the movie, but new stills that they made. So you'd have stuff that doesn't even like really look like, yeah, and like see, now you have goblins in this deck. That was supposed to be just like a Mordor deck, but now there's goblins here. No consistency. And now even the random characters have the resistance thing instead of just, just the heroes. And they just, some of them just look wrong. I can't really explain it. Maybe just because you played like the regular version for so long, and then you get the updated version and it just looks like Uncanny Valley. I think it was the Boromir one that looked specifically weird. Especially weird. Let's see. Yeah, there you got Boromir, Merry. But like this guy, like who the hell is this guy? What is this guy? Let's see, there's some villains in here. No, that's all Gondor. Oh, here we go. They changed the Southron thing, and now it's like, okay, now the Dunlinen guys aren't in this, because now it's not Harad or the Easterlings or whatever. Now it's just evil men. So there's weird Rohirrim men in here. There's the Dunlinen guys, Easterlings. It just doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make sense. Not okay. And like, I don't know, like, you can't even really play with them because I guess you can, but it just sucks that like all of these new cards literally do not work with like your old cards that well. So it's like, okay, I have however many boxes of the original cards and I can't even use them. The Black Rider box, I had Saruman and the Mouth of Sauron. I thought like, of course, getting them, I was like, oh my god, does that mean Saruman's the hero of it? Or the Mouth of Sauron's the hero of it? But no, it's just like standard, I think, hobbits for one of them or both of them. And then it's, then you just get new bad guy cards. But we'll just quick go through some of the stuff I have here. And dig them out. Like, okay, I have Gimli's axe, and it's like, cool, I wish I could use Gimli's axe in my Gimli deck, but I can't because it doesn't pertain. Like muster isn't allowed in the original set. It doesn't work. And then you have like, okay, here's the Dwarven Warrior, but now it's different. So now I can't use the other Dwarven guy who I used to use all the time. And it's just like, and then like, okay, there's some cool stuff like, you have Theodred in this, which is in the books, is mentioned in the books, but he's not in the films, obviously, because he's dead off screen, and that's kind of neat. But the other stuff is just like, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who's just like, why is this dude complaining about nothing? Because it probably comes that way. But, I don't know. Maybe it's just a little oddity of the history of this thing that, and then this total, like, rules change, rule swap, whatever. Here's just a bunch of more sites. Frodo had a new icon now with the little ring to let you know that he was a ring possible character. And this one had more ring possible characters like a Boromir and a Aragorn and a Gimli and all the people who are able to now use the ring instead. And Gandalf stuff. A lot of it just ended up being like, I don't have a lot of characters for a lot of the stuff, just like, you know, dinky little items or events and whatnot. Like, I literally have no Gondorian people whatsoever besides the starter deck, the crappy start. Oh, never mind, I have Boromir. I guess I just have Boromir, but he's a promo from the starter decks. This is my one, you know, rare card. It's Faramir on it. This is probably just me ranting like a madman. And if you've gotten to this point of the video after 2 hours, I'm sorry that you're just hearing me rant. Here are some cool Nazgul cards, though. Spot 6 companions and another Nazgul card to kill a companion. This guy's skirmishing. Like, that was like, I remember that card specifically. Like, wow, badass. That's a cool card. But, you know, more just, you know, it's okay. The random Uruk-hai, but not Isengard cards. Let's see if we can find some Isengard cards that we ever have. A lot. Oh, here's Deagle. They had followers in this one and aid in this one, kind of a little new mechanic. But yes, you can have Deagle for some forsaken reason. But there are some good Gollum cards in here. I kind of wanted to add to my Gollum deck, but I was like, no, I felt bad about it, you know. I felt like it was wrong. Oh well. Jeez, what do we have here? Just the cards look bizarre, and it's just because it's like they have different tones, different colors. Some of these ones are like obvious, brand new, like stuff for this set, and like if it's like Tom Bombadil or Goldberry, people who like obviously weren't in the movies and obviously were remade just for this, then go for it. That's super cool. That's fine. Or like Theodred too. That's cool. But stuff like this where it's like, yeah, even though we have 10,000 pictures of orcs, let's just get a different orc in here, you know? And it just kind of plays maybe tricks with your mind, because it's like, hey, I don't remember seeing that in these films, and now I have it in these films. Like this thing. This is even like look like a Lord of the Rings thing to me. You know, like some of this it's just off. There's this weird uncanny valley vibe to it. And the fact that it doesn't correlate to the old cards at all, because all the fonts are like the icons and the coloring is all different, makes it seem like it's just wrong. And then you know, the goblins in here pisses me the hell off. Same with like the Dunlending guys are in with the Haradrim as well as the Rohirrim men. You know, like why was it so hard to let everyone stay in their original class? Maybe that's just me being a jaded asshole who's like, oh, you know, the new stuff just doesn't hold up to the old stuff, you know, and I'm becoming a 60-year-old man, you know, slowly before us. But maybe I'm right. Maybe I have a shred of something within me. Something vague within me. I don't know. I talk in all this vagueness now. I just finished a leadership course at my work, and you know, gaslight is basically what I learned. Elevate. Oh, here's some cool rares. Actually, I probably should have spotted out. Yeah. I won't bother reading them. Sniff, because that's my play the original game only with myself. I'm not gonna play this other one by myself. Oh, Boromir, please. I wonder if I have more cards. I know there was like some Isengard specific cards, maybe they're in here. And like some like Moria specific cards, like the Balrog wasn't of anything, but there is a Balrog card in here somewhere. Oh god, am I hallucinating? I swear now people won't believe me. Or maybe they were in the, okay, yes, I think they were in the later sets, like after these three. They had like 4 or 5 more, and there was also a similar set to Reflections that was like goodbyes, and it had a bunch more stuff like the Balrog and a different Saruman and whatnot. Let's see who's in here. No, it looks pretty standard so far. Sorry, is that Brago from the Two Towers? Well, whatever, Brago, you just stay in there. You, Martha Sauron, like you chose to be in there, Brago. Okay, never mind, it's not Brago's fault. We'll save Brago. Brago is from set 4, not set whatever the hell, and deserves to be free. We saved Brago, guys. On this guy, whatever the hell this guy is too. Are there others in here? We can't save them all, but I'll try. Oh no, oh no, oh no, did I add extra cards in here? God, only I would care to do this. Okay, I think now they're safe, right? Alright. It's okay, everybody. We saved Brago. These, arguably, I could throw away. Just because I, quite literally have no use for these. You know, if I ever con anyone into playing the game with me, it'll be like the original game, not whatever this new one is. But you know what? Can the happiness on this horse be measured? I think not. We'll read Brago for our final goodbye. Possession, mount, Rohirrim card, unique, and 1 Twilight token. To play, spot a Rohirrim man. Bearer must be a man, elf, or a wizard. Fuck the dwarves, I guess. I guess contextually, whatever. When you play Brago, you may heal the bearer. At the start of each skirmish involving bearer, each minion skirmishing bearer must exert. So it's just like a regular mount, but you get a heal when you put them on. That's nice. Brago was named for the second king of Rohan. And he is, from the 4th set, the Two Towers, he is uncommon, and he is number 263. Well, thank you for sitting here for 263 minutes, it feels like. That was my Lord of the Rings card collection. I really do love this game, and it meant a lot to me just because I played it so much as a kid with my family. So maybe it's just nostalgia bait for me. But I thought because of the new movie, it'd be fun just to have some little Lord of the Rings flashback. Anyway, thank you so much once again for just even clicking on this video, and especially for making it to the end. I think only like 5 to 10% of viewers make it to the end of each of my videos. So it really does mean a lot that you're here with me right now. As you know, I am M. Price, and I can indeed read. This is M. Price Can Read, as a matter of fact. And as you also know, Dog City never sleeps. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to point upwards in this. Dog City never sleeps. I hope that you may sleep